I'm Donna from Evoca, and this tutorial will be focusing on sculpting the hair of our model. So to start, bring your hair into Mudbox, so make sure you've got your UVs applied, you've reset your X forms, and then you just go send to Mudbox, add to current scene. Okay, so once we're in Mudbox, we can go in and hide everything else. We only need to focus on our hair. So just turning off all the clothes. So we can go in and focus on our hair. Okay, so we'll add a few subdivisions to both the ponytail and the main hair mesh, and then we'll lock off the hair tie and the main mesh so we can focus on the ponytail to start with. So to do that, just click in the little column beside the visibility circle, so just clicking there, it'll freeze those two meshes so we can't accidentally sculpt on top of those. And then we can go in and we can start to add the strands of our hair. So I'm just going to use the wax tool. I'll make sure my mirror is off, and I'll start to sculpt in some of the larger forms. So either both sculpting in and cutting back on the mesh. I'm just going to quickly block in where I want the hair to fall and where it looks like it's going to flow. So just really quickly blocking in that hair. So again, I haven't added too many subdivision levels, so it's still a pretty chunky looking mesh when we start to sculpt, but as we move up into higher detail and higher detail frequency, we can add more subdivisions. So just following the natural form of the hair that I've already modeled in, and just adding a few more details. So just a few more. This is going to be down, this is going to be up type of things, and this is the way I want the hair to flow and to follow. So not forgetting the underside of the hair. And this is why we locked the main mesh and the ponytail, so we can get to this area pretty easily. Okay, once I'm happy with that, I'll add another subdivision layer, and I'll go in and I'll smooth some of this out a little so it starts to look less lumpy. So these are just blocking in the flow of the hair mostly. Okay, so once I'm happy, I'll adjust the size of my brush and I'll start to go in over the flow that I've created. So just adding kind of like chunky strands and cutting in some of the areas to accentuate where the hair is folding in on itself. So just cutting in and building up. And just adding some larger, chunkier details. Smoothing back to get rid of the lumpy look. And then continuing to sculpt some of the detail. with the basic form done and the basic direction of the hair laid out, I'm going to turn on my steady stroke and start to paint in individual type hairs. So still using a rather large brush, I'm just going to make sure the hair goes and follows the rest of the head and the direction that I've started to block in. So adding more of an individual strand type of thing here. So still using the larger brush, I'm just going around and painting in kind of more like clumps rather than individual strands. They're still large clumps of hair. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to add another couple of subdivision levels. I'm going to shrink my brush right down, and I'm going to start adding the individual hairs. So just smoothing back some of the areas where the brush has skipped over the mesh, and still using my steady stroke and making sure mirror is off. I'm just going to go around the ponytail and paint in more individual hairs. So again, just following the form that I've already blocked in, and I'm starting from the base of the ponytail and dragging all the way out and smoothing back just a little, so you can start to see the individual hair starting to form. So we'll just keep doing this and build up the detail. So just continuing to go around the ponytail and add the strands and smooth back and build up the detail. Trying to follow the form of that I've already, or the flow of the hair that I've already blocked in. Okay, you can start to see it coming together. We definitely want to make sure we do smooth back, because as you can see, the strokes that we create are still quite bubbly in places. This is due to the subdivision level. You can always add more, and it's also some of it has to do with the size of the brush. But try and get the strands to go from top to bottom. Due to the shape of the ponytail, you won't be able to get the stroke to be completely from one complete stroke, so just do your best. And again, just knocking back the detail a little bit. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that, so I might call that finished for now, and I'll move on to just adding a bit of detail to the hair tie. So again, just a couple of subdivisions, and I'll go in and quickly, just using the wax tool, add a few strokes just to make it look like it's a band twisting in on itself. So it doesn't need to be anything too elaborate or too detailed, since this is only a small area of the model that really is never going to be focused in on. But we just want to do it to add a little bit of something to the normal map, just to add a little bit of detail. With that done, we can move on to the main mesh of our hair. So just the same with the ponytail, add a couple of subdivisions, then go in with a larger brush and block in the form of where our hair will lie and how it will be pulled back into the ponytail. Okay, and it will depend on the hairstyle that you're using as to how the hair will flow, but the method can be used and applied to any hairstyle really. So I'm only going to also model detail into this base mesh of both the ponytail and the main head. I'm not going to sculpt any details onto the strips that we created. You can if you choose to, but for purposes of this tutorial I'm not going to bother. If you decide to paint on those strips, the same techniques would be used. Okay, with the basic form blocked in, we can go in with a smaller brush again and at a higher subdivision level, we can go in and add more individual clumps, just like with the ponytail. Again, we can go in now at the highest subdivision level and add those individual strands. So just as we did with the ponytail, starting from either one end and moving into the other. So just to add a bit of variety and detail into the mesh. Just following the form that we've already laid down in the lower sections. So don't forget to pay attention to the hairline. And just continue to go around the model, building up and smoothing out. Okay, so now I've finished smoothing in some of that areas, some of that detail. I'm going to go back in and just add a little bit more in some places, just to bring it back just a little bit. And then smoothing it back out again to get rid of the bubbly effect. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm happy with that, and we can call our hair complete.